All right, guys, here we are for another Zoom review. Today, we're going to be talking about Better Watch Out. We've got a special guest with us tonight, Danny Nightmare. Danny, tell them who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Danny Nightmare, and I'm a horror addict, and you can find me at Horror Addicts TV right here on YouTube. Boom. We always got your fix. Twitter, we got Horror Addicts TV on Twitter. You can also follow me personally, just Danny Nightmare on Twitter. Same thing, Facebook. Look us up there. Got a Horror Addicts page. All kinds of good stuff. We're Horror Addicts is on Instagram. Find me there as well.
So Better Watch Out. Better Watch Out. Had you guys seen this one before today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen this one. I've seen it a couple of times. Watched it again last night just to brush up. So
it was new to me. So like, I think that if you're going to enjoy this, you need to watch it without knowing anything about it per se.
Mm-hmm.
So
the first time I watched it, I kind of went into it blind.
Exactly.
So
I think that I would on balance recommend it. I liked it. I didn't love it. I think it has good parts and it's like kind of interesting. Without spoiling it, what are your recommendations, everybody?
That first watch is a great watch. I think you said it right there. Like going in blind, a certain recommendation here. As this was, I only watched it twice. This is my second time watching it. I don't think it is as good as the second time as it is the first time. But that first watch, I remember being like edge of my seat, like, oh, this is interesting. And then I was like, whoa, it's getting there. This is something I should definitely check it out.
You should know as little about it as possible, I think.
Yes, don't even read the description.
Yes.
Just watch the movie.
Yeah, I went into it pretty blind, and I'm happy I did the first time I saw it because I liked it more because I knew there was like a small twist in there, and that does, but then there's so much more. I'm like, whoa, really? Okay, I like it.
What is it?
I would overall say this once again makes my nice list.
Hey, maybe it'll put you in the mood while you know.
A lot of good actors in this one.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Especially when they're young actors, it's a little more impressive. You don't always get that's a hard thing to do in a movie where you get a bunch of good actors that are that young. I feel like they had a whole bunch of them in the 80s, but a lot of things for the early 2000s. I see young kids and I just cringe in most of those movies.
I think because in the 80s they could beat them until it came out exactly perfect. They're like, do you understand this is a quarter a second? I'm using film here, kid. And they would whip them and eventually they would come out really great. Nowadays with digital, people are lazy. It doesn't come out the same way. But here we roped in some kids from Australia where they still have a good work ethic.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say it was probably the tradition of like the stage and theater and stuff, but yes, that's the same process of beatings that you're describing. I think, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, from the things Corey Feldman and Drew Barrymore always said, I always figured it maybe because in the 80s they treated them like adults, not in a good way sometimes.
Well, drugs helped, I assume.
Why. Yeah.
In this, we got a familiar face. What's his name? Danny from Stranger Things. Danny? Was that his name?
Yep. Yeah, it was Billy.
Billy, that's it.
Billy.
I was like, I know it was a Stranger Things thing. Did it just?
I'm like, what the fuck are you? There's no who. What are you talking about? Okay.
He is clean shaven in this. He doesn't have that little like rat mustache and his long hair.
He's transformed. Yeah, no, that's actually awesome. Real quick.
He was also the Red Power Ranger.
Yes, he looked kind of the same as he did in that one and this, because I think what are they, a couple years apart?
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we're all in agreement here. This is something you should definitely check out. Go in blind, watch it. We're going to go into spoilers now, so if you've seen it or don't care, follow us over there, and if not, pull out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video, and we eat the competition.
So spoilers for me, on my rewatch here, I know you said you've watched it a couple of times now. I don't think I would have watched this again for a couple of years had I been just doing it for fun and not for like content for the channel.
It hurts now, but you'll thank me later.
Because it is such a twist-heavy movie. And not that I remembered every beat and where things exactly happened, but if you knew A to B where it was going, you've kind of lost something along the way, because it's such a deep twist. Like watching Sixth Sense the second time, you're like, well, yeah, okay. Like you could watch it again to try to be like, let me try to find the problems. And I did. I was actively trying to break the movie, looking for where the tells may have been. And I think it was pretty great. I didn't have any moments where I was like, oh, they got it here. I think I would have added one little thing where like you would have saw like a fuse or something on that trebuchet or catapult that throws the brick.
Ashley.
But other than that, I don't think there was any real moments, because they explain how there's a person on the bottom floor and the top floor at the same time because it's just a cardboard cutout. I think like that would have been the one moment where you're like, wait a minute, how did he get to the top so fast? Maybe you could argue you saw his leg out there on the ground from that paintball shot, and he got up pretty quickly. But he's a young kid. Kids move pretty fast. When she is making a run for it to the carolers, she kind of just gets like knocked out real quick, and they show the brick that was thrown through the window there, like as if it was what hit her, but they don't really show that part. And I was like, did he brick her right there? Is that what we're to believe, or was that a brick just there? Why would that be the same brick that was in the window outside at that moment?
What the fuck is that?
Shit! Oh, I'm getting out of here.
Garrett, come back! Garrett! Garrett!
It seemed like a weird, and that was my only real question. Were there multiple bricks outside ready in case the first one missed the window? I don't know. Any ideas there?
Bricks are rare. They had to import it. They don't have any bricks in that neighborhood.
Well,
so
it had the words written on it.
I know. They only had the one brick, so I had to use the same brick later to brick her.
Oh, you think movie-wise they only had one brick?
No, I think diegetically as well. There's only one brick in the whole town. They had to order it on Amazon, and it arrived. And they were like, all right, we got to use this.
And it wasn't free shipping because bricks are heavy.
No, they got screwed.
And even though she just fell down the stairs, she survived the brick as well. Like she's got on her third life, I believe, at that point.
Tough chick,
That stair fall was
Definitely.
pretty serious. I like that. I like that girl a lot. I don't know her from a lot of things. She was in, I was gonna say she was in The Visit with the other kid from this movie.
Yeah, the little brother's, or the little boy's friend was her little brother in The Visit. So
And they were
I'm gonna refer to him as a nerd.
And they were, I thought both like bad in like The Visit, so they were both great here. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe I was wrong.
Well, a couple of years and some acting classes later, and they're just tearing it up.
He's my best friend.
No, he's not. Luke doesn't give a shit about you, Garrett. He uses you. He manipulates you. No friend would put you through tonight.
There's a couple of connections that I wondered if they got brought through where like one got hired and they brought the other, because the Billy kid is in some Elvis movie, and so is she playing Priscilla in that. And I'm like, I wonder if this is just a small group. Is it just there's such a small pool of actors in Australia that they just don't have many options? I'd like to think that they're all friends and they just go, hey, I'm making a movie. Come over here.
Yeah,
I like to think that too, because I love it when friends make movies together. There's more passion in them usually.
It's true.
Like when Adam Sandler says to Kevin Nealon again, like, "Hey, you want to be in a movie for 30 seconds and go on vacation with me?" And it's like, yeah.
Well, Ben Stiller told Owen Wilson, he's like, if I'm making a movie, just show up. We'll find a part for you. There you go.
I do love that though. Like it is kind of like, oh yeah, they're milking the system, but I'm like, no, but that's for my benefit. I'm going to enjoy whatever part Owen Wilson has in that movie, or what have you. And I think the same way here, where yes, characters that know each other in real life are able to do things better. Like if I'm just showing up on set with some guy that I don't know and we have to fight, I'm not going to go crazy on that person because I don't know that person. But if it's someone who I'm like, oh, we've been friends for a while, I'm going to throw you to the ground. We're going to have a good fight. Like, it's going to be nice. And I think you bring that in the acting world.
I agree. I'm a pro wrestler. I've been doing it for about 17 years now. There's plenty of people that I love wrestling over and over again because I just know what their limits are, what we can go with. There's people like I meet for the first time and I sometimes have a great match with them regardless, but you never know with what you're getting sometimes. But someone you've been doing it with, like you got trained at the same time, yeah, you know where you can go. You're looking forward to those matches.
Or that flip side, passion of hatred is also good. Where you're like, they don't like each other. He's gonna hurl that guy to the ground.
But if they hate each other, they must know each other somewhat.
Yes, exactly.
So
so we mentioned the pushing her down the stairs. That's like the moment where I think things sort of turn for real, right? That's when it like kicks
that's
in.
the twist.
And that happens like, I don't want to say like 27 minutes into the movie.
It's the first third.
One of my favorite parts about this is that you spend the whole first, it's like 25 minutes of just like, okay, this is just like a normal movie, right? And like we're experienced movie watchers, so you're probably like, well, there's a twist, right? What's the twist? But this beginning goes on for so long that and like it's happening so like quickly and like like fast. So you're like, is the twist just like, oh, you're gonna spend more time in like a different phase of this home invasion? Are they gonna go do something? Are like the parents in a satanic cult and they're gonna sacrifice the like what the hell is the twist? Like what? And like I did not think for a moment like oh Lee, oh his name, okay, Luke is his name. I was gonna call him Levi. His name is Levi Miller. Is a fucking like sociopath mastermind who like planned literally everything from like for like months or something to like achieve all this that that night. That's
Exactly.
crazy. I love it.
And he can roll with any change like really well. He's like super smart. He catches all the problems. Yeah, and things do work very conveniently for him. I wrote down he had a cat accomplice at one point. when our like Billy guy, I forget what ex-boyfriend, whatever hell his name was, when he's just about to die, a cat just happens to run across his legs and distract him just long enough that he can get his noose around his neck and has like
Jeremy
a tractor ready to go. I was like, was that tractor just sitting there idled and ready to go? Like,
I'm glad you say that, because like that's the cat that also goes in front of the babysitter's car. So I think that it is literally his cat accomplice. Yes, where he's like, go.
Yeah, and if the cat would have got ran over, he wouldn't have cared, because like even he admits with the hamster, it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
So it's like he's a little sociopath, and that was the nice twist, because I went into this thinking, the only thing I kind of knew is that like people break in while he's being babysit, but they managed to turn the tables on the people breaking in and then like kind of Home Alone him. That's all I kind of knew.
Yeah.
But it's not what happens at all, really. He is evil. He's not just a little Kevin McAllister. He's like a Zach Morris, little young Patrick Bateman. Like he is evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think and Home Alone is great in that there are actual references to Home Alone, but also like they just have that house where you're like, what is this house? It's like really big and nice. Things are lit well. It's really filmed nicely. The combination of all these things going into it, I was like, this is a real movie. And like on our channel, we usually talk about crap, so I'm there like shit talking, picking apart, pulling things, and I'm like, this is a movie you can just sit back and enjoy. This is like an actual good movie. What a refreshing turn of events, where I end up without like pages of notes of just hating on things from just like, pretty good, let me enjoy this. I think, which is high praise if you haven't seen this movie and somehow got past us ruining this bit. Definitely something to go back and watch, even though I said it's not as good the second time, which would be kind of your second time if you heard us ruin it the first time.
Hi, how are you?
Get off me!
I liked his parents. He had like the dad, his dad was the Tick.
Yeah, Patrick Warburton. I like him. And
he's in so many different things.
Is
Bad
fucking,
Milo.
The
what the hell's her
Candyman
name?
chick.
Candyman,
yeah. She's in Prophecy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've never sucked another man's cock. Not even in college. Not some lost weekend, fishing trip, secret special friend.
She was great.
Her face is so specific too. Like from the moment she's on camera, you're like, oh, I know you. I know you.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah,
you.
I like to call this cameo parents or like cameo couples to show up, because like they're in the movie for like 5 minutes. It's very.
They're
funny.
the only Americans in the movie, I think.
They're like, oh, peace out, see ya, and they're gone the whole time. It's great.
And just like every filthy word that comes out of his mom's face, like mouth, until like the very end, when then all of a sudden she sees all this, and now she's like super motherly, and she's
Which
like
is exactly what he wanted.
exactly, because that's what his mom stopped holding him, and and like then his babysitter is like so brutal. What she's like, I know why she stopped holding you, and she never tells him, but we all know what she was gonna say.
Can you tell me? I don't know. What do you mean? Is it because he's a sociopath or some other reason?
Yeah, because he's got no soul. He's a little asshole. He kills animals and stuff.
But it's crazy because like he
more.
hit it so perfectly. Like up until the moment of his twist, she didn't know anything was like crazy about him. He became like a little ballsy, I'll say, where he went right for the champagne. He got a little aggressive with her, but like even up until then, he was still like this little bro kid until he punches her in the face. Kills her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend. Like it's such a twist.
Yeah.
So like I was a little bit like, I wonder why his mom did leave him out on the cold like this, because it does seem like he was the perfect little sleepwalking angel, but he was such the opposite of that. And even his friend, who's like his only confidant in this thing, didn't know the depths of how far this guy would go. It's very troublesome, and it's such a nice thing to see someone who's like, oh, you're like a little bitch weenie character, but you're also creeping me the fuck out. That's how good of an actor you are.
You were never gonna let me go, were you?
Guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah, like his voice still cracks when he's like yelling about like torturing
he's
something.
screaming all
It's
the
great.
time,
I'm
and
like,
he's-
nice.
I want to know
Yeah, I
how
believe
much
he
that
was,
was acting, or if his voice just does that.
Yeah, scary kid. Because a lot of time
The actor was
kids act like
14 at the time, but he was supposed to be 12, and he every time that voice squeaked, I bought it, and I'm like,
I told you not to touch her, you asshole!
yeah.
Oh
that's
yeah,
good.
no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
sold
that's good.
100%. I thought that made him such a believable character. I
Yes.
like that a lot.
Yeah, because he's acting like an adult, right? And he's saying like adult things, but it's not like, like a lot of like you mentioned, like kid actors and stuff. Sometimes they just act like adults, and it's like, okay, that's like your one trick. It's like Dakota Fanning or someone is just like, you're a weird little adult. Like, what's going on here? But this kid in the beginning is acting like one way, and then later he's acting this other way. He does this different story. He's like, oh, you are the good son. You are doing this crazy back and forth thing. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like the kid from Funny Games or something. Like he had this real life. I'm like, you are a crazy person. Get the hell away from me. He reminded me of the kid from Game of Thrones, the one that was in Misfits, the one that like I make you eat your wiener type of thing. Like that guy.
Oh, that okay. I was gonna say
like I'm
Joffrey,
like,
but
there is
no.
evil in those eyes. I don't like you. Like I wouldn't want to be in the same room with that guy, and that's how you know he's a great actor.
And he's dancing around
even
like an American Psycho or something. He's doing like his weird like dancing in like the
Yeah,
background.
yeah.
Even when there's no one else
And
there
then
to freak out, he's just like he's so exuberant with his like what like what he's doing. I was like, awesome.
But then the boyfriend gets up behind him. That's hilarious too, because he's like, he let his guard down to celebrate, and then he pays for it.
Yeah,
I
'cause
like
is-
that because
no,
it's
because he
believable.
does fuck up. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It doesn't go like super smoothly. He never he
Yeah.
never planned on like how to deal with the pencil, but he knew about it. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
And
a
his
little
friend,
kid hitting a
he
meathead with a
wanted to kill
bat.
his friend, but I like how he's more mad that he had to kill his friend than he is sad about it.
Yeah,
Too.
look
Like,
what
that's
you made me do. That's a
about it,
classic
like,
abuser's
Look what
attitude.
you made me do, and he's screaming, pissed off, and swearing. But he's like, he's not mad that he like, oh my god, my best friend, I'll never get to be friends with him anymore. No, it's you made me do this. This is more problems in my ass that I need right now.
He should have said that carpet was new.
Yeah. The only emotion is like anger, and that scene's amazing too with this kid. I like he's like a young Leo DiCaprio. I'm like, I have to keep my eye on this kid. Like he's so angry and he's screaming, and then he just breathes like a few times and kind of like gathers himself. And the line's kind of corny, but when he says like he was starting to piss me off anyway, whatever he says, right? But like I love the like because it's like it's just one shot on him while he's going through it, right? He's doing the whole thing. I was like, this is awesome.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! He was starting to annoy me anyway.
It was
He is
believable.
a control freak, like, and that's why he gets mad when
Yeah.
things are not in his control. But he will do anything to get them back under control.
When he's cleaning up the piss, which I have to ask the group what you think about that, but he puts on like the
Love piss.
gloves and he's got his little thing. The boyfriend is like, gotta pee, and he's like already peeing, and I'm like, okay, is this part of your plan? Because he didn't like it didn't do anything. It wasn't like, and then when he's kneeled down, I'm gonna kick him in the thing, or like he was just like, nah, I gotta pee, I'm peeing, and I was like, that's a interesting choice for you right now, because you know you're in some sort of a jeopardy, but you let the bladder go pretty quick into that whole ordeal. It wasn't like hours later.
He was either
I guess maybe because the gun was pressed up against his face, and maybe he just pissed himself
Yeah.
out of fear from that. I don't
he was
know.
either
It seems so
actually-
casual.
He was either actually scared or this was his way of like diffusing, because he's like, say that again, and he's like, well, I can't say whatever I said, which might have been "fuck you, kid" or something.
Yeah, it was something
Yeah,
along
And
those
he
lines.
just whatever. But
Yeah.
it's one of those two.
I love the
I
stab
agree.
in this cheek and the smoke coming
Yes.
out of the hole. I was like, great,
Yeah.
great.
The angle of the stab too, how it wasn't just like a hole that was punched. It had that like the skin gets like thinner on the cut going down like at like a weird
Uh-huh.
angle. It was very cool detail to that.
Yeah,
Great gore effects there.
that was great. And for a lot of things, like they shied kind of away from showing things, like they Home Alone him with that paint bucket, and you really don't ever see it. And I think that's probably wise, because I don't know if you could have done that properly. So to keep it to mystery, I think that's good. Just splattering the
Artsy
blood.
too, just the
It
paint
is,
and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
worked.
I mean, at least you got the effect from it. You didn't need to see more, I think. So
Yeah, less is more sometimes, because a bad effect would have hurt the scene, while that I think was perfectly effective. There's an effect in this that I really enjoy. It's only used twice. It's a camera tilt, and it's
What's the
super
chair?
Yeah, so the chair is getting righted, And when she thinks there's an active shooter outside, she tackles the boy. And it just, the camera takes the whole scene to a different direction, and
Yep.
I like that
So
because
yeah,
it's
very
it's
good.
unique, it's weird, it's distinct. I would have liked it used more, honestly. It was
Exactly.
weird.
I wanted a little more too, but I like that. But
Yeah.
it looks good. I don't know. They should have done a little more with that.
I would have done it like rode that into the ground. Just do stupid effects until it's like,
Be
is
sick
that
of
your
it by the
thing?
time
Like,
it's done.
like when someone uses too many Dutch angles, like I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Every-
Everyone should be properly going up and down.
But sir, it's like every scene. It's like, no more. Tilt the credits. Keep tilting everything. Yeah.
Tilt the credits. There was a post-credit scene on this. It was the shortest of post-credits, where like the
Oh,
credits
yeah.
kind of just started, and he's like, oh, we gotta go see if she's okay. I want to go to the hospital or whatever. And I was like, oh, can we get a sequel?
Relentless little
Yeah,
bastard.
He's brilliant. Because you think
He's
like,
invested-
I don't know exactly
Yeah.
like
I don't-
how he would do anything.
No,
what,
no,
What is
but-
he gonna actually do?
like you think it's over, right? And like she got away. She gives him the finger. Okay, happy ending, I guess.
Flipping him off.
But that kid, I'm like, I think he could figure out how to do it. He could go to the and then like distract his mom and work it out and figure out, oh, the orderly is gonna come back right now. Let me grab this. Like, can we visit her? Well, she's in surgery. Oh, can we? And like, oh, and like somehow make it happen, right?
He
I
has
believe
everything
could
to
do it.
lose.
Yeah.
So like, even if it was a really like, I'm just gonna
Yes.
strangle her, like he's already dead. Like she knows what happened. He
Yeah.
can't beat that. She's openly saying, yeah, you tried to murder me. You did kill all these people. You're going to jail, or at least some sort of padded room forever. So yeah, he has to do something. I would enjoy his like 4-second plan thought out like attack in movie 2, which I don't think we're ever gonna get. But
A
I would
true
enjoy it.
test. Yes.
It'd have to be like Halloween 2, or it's just right after. You
Yes,
know, like
exactly.
they're on the way. They're in the car on the way to the hospital, and he's like thinking of a plan, and
Yeah.
he's gonna kill her. But he finds out that she's already told a nurse, and now he's gonna kill the nurse, and then someone else witnesses, and then all these bodies are piling up in the hospital, and he's killing them all.
No, like he kills her, and like that sparks the interest of like a cop who's looking into it like a little too deeply, and the whole second movie is now just this cat and mouse game. It's like
Throughout the hospital.
And he pulls out the death note and he starts
I was just
killing
gonna
people.
say it's like Death Note, but I didn't know if we were allowed to bring up anime. But yes, it'd be like Death Note. Which
Bring
is
it up
the
here, I
game
don't
of
mind.
cat and mouse between this kid. No, it takes place over like the next like weeks or months after that, because the cop keeps coming, investigating. The case is closed. What are you doing? It's like the guy's his like box of files. No, there's more. I know that kid is the killer. Ah, it's great.
Speaking of great, I think this movie was like the inverse of like, when movies have a lot of little subtle back and forth lines that are like throwaway between scenes, and you're like, that didn't feel believable. Every line in this movie felt believable. The back and forth, the little kid lines, the bullshit, everything felt great. Like nothing was like, it was a stretch. Oh, you were reaching here. I was like, that's a casual conversation you happen to catch about two sociopaths kidnapping their babysitter. Like perfect. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
Especially his nerdy friend Garrett. Like he just everything that came out of him. Like kids like him, they do talk like that. I know they talk like that. So
Yes. And was he high on oxy? You're like, okay.
Oh my god, dude.
yeah, pills, and then he started smoking weed in the house, and that pissed off Luke more than anything. Now we got to get it in his system.
He says now we're gonna get in trouble. And there's like people duct taped and blood and stuff. Like, oh god, yeah.
Well, he had accounted for all those things.
yes.
This is a variable that was
Exactly.
new. He has to fix it, and that potentially did
Yeah.
cost people their lives. And I think that's so interesting how methodical he was, and how the smallest thing can really divert everything and things spiral out of control. I think that relationship just like going completely off the rails is what makes this movie so good.
I like you mentioning
Yeah,
how
I
methodical
agree.
he was, because I have a thing. The
Let's hear it.
failed smooch, I think, is like an issue.
Whoa, Luke, no, Luke.
Why?
Wait, no, just because, Luke.
Because like I don't think him doing that helps him long term, unless he really just wanted to kill her, unless there was no hope of doing or like whatever, right? Does he just want to kill her? Is that the whole movie?
Well, the failed smooch, I think, was your last ditch effort. Like, I can still call this whole plan off because maybe she'll go for it. And
no, but
by
that's
her
what
not
I mean. Yeah, is like I don't think that because his friend's outside and like the phone rings right then. It didn't feel like he could have called it off. It felt like he had already done all this stuff, and that smooch was like oh like what are you doing? You're only I don't know. Yeah, because even if okay, because the plan was going to happen, and and she was going to get like close to him, and she did, right? They have like their more they do like bonding part 2, and like
She held his hand
like
for a
sneak
moment.
around. Yeah, so I was like, okay, so like the smooch at that point kind of like blows it. I think it doesn't like work, and it's not as like genius level as like the rest of his planning, I thought.
Well, he's also a 12-year-old boy. You can only be so S tier.
No, we can't make allowances for that for this one thing, and then everything else be like, oh, you're like Omega level genius.
Mm.
I love how he finds like he's doing research and his friend's in his room with him, and he's doing like research like on how he can use it to manipulate her, how he can like all that stuff. It's like it's so Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. Like every episode he like find out like a new way to manipulate people, and like he'd get his nerdy friend to help him do it. But I love how she just calls him on it. Of course, that he has to slap her and knock her down the stairs because of it. But it's like no one ever called Zach Morris on his shit like that. And
They would have got slapped and thrown down the stairs. So good thing they didn't.
He was a sociopath, and
they
like,
knew better. Yeah, she's great. Her like reactions throughout it, even when she thinks everything's cool, and then once things are totally not cool, she's constantly when she's like dial 911, and if I scream, hit send and hide. Like she's bang bang bang. She's never like I don't know. She's just like super.
Unless a
on the
spider's
ball.
on her face, then she freaks the fuck out.
But he knows that. He planned that. Oh, it's amazing.
That's almost ridiculous. The fact that
definitely.
Like, and I won't say that he used spiders. I think releasing a bunch of spiders in the attic, that might be fine. But the fact that when it was time to clean up, he scoops them back up into the little terrarium thing, I'm like, ooh, that seems like an extra layer there that I don't know if you needed to do. I think you could have just had spiders in the house. This is a house.
Those are his friends. I don't know.
Well, they're his boys, the huntsmen or whatever they are.
Yeah.
I love
those are the arachnophobia spiders, though, right? Those are like the weird, scary-looking, horrible spiders. Yeah, it's awesome.
But that are harmless.
Yes, like the real spiders from like arachnophobia.
Yeah.
Whatever species they use, they look super.
I think they're huntsmen. I could be wrong.
Yeah, something like okay. Yeah.
There's a part when I'm gonna call him Greaser as the actual boyfriend, and like douchebag will be the ex-boyfriend if ever I'm talking about people. So Greaser dude like forces his way in, and he's like, is that pizza? Like you just hear him say it casually.
Ash, is that pizza?
And like the camera angle changes, and like he's got a piece of pizza in his hand. He's like he's eating that dude's mushroom pizza. This guy's such a one-track caveman idiot. I loved that so much. But that guy like had an arc where he ended up being this really good guy. It was like, no, like I'm sorry, this stuff. You're gonna go. You're gonna do great things. You leave. Forget about me. And she kind of has to because he's dead now.
She has no choice.
It's funny because like he clearly he ordered the pizza, but he made it have mushrooms because that would throw it off him.
That's smart. Exactly.
I don't want mushrooms, but did he know that the pizza delivery guy was gonna be so sus? Like because that guy acts like you think maybe that guy's robbing the house once you don't know the twist, because he acts really creepy as he gives it to her, and like, you have a good night, miss, and stuff like that.
Yes.
With good reason too, because the opening scene, like when she stops for that cat, a car does pull out and follow her, or at least that's what they make you believe is happening. So you kind of do, you're like, oh, it must be that. Okay, this is that guy. This is something. We didn't order a pizza. Mushrooms, fuck you. Here's $20, sir. Like, it's this whole thing. And I think that is great. And I imagine he is so methodical. He did go like, that pizza place only has one delivery boy, and it's an ex-con.
Really
Get him over here.
He's a really awkward guy. I'll get him on purpose.
No, like, I thought the same thing.
Tall and menacing.
I think that it's more the filming because they never show his face, I think, right? So you have this luxury of like, but I think that's almost meant to be like she is already so nervous that she's projecting the susness where it's just like a monotone nothingness. But yeah, I had the same thought of like, why? Because like the car pulling out too. I'm like, wait, you like that's cheating. Now you're showing the audience stuff that is not related to what's going on, but it helps. Right?
Or was it? Is that how they got the cat there in time?
It all works out. Yes.
I love Billy playing like the king of the douches. Like everything about that man is like the douchiest thing there ever was.
Hey, Ash. Hey, it's good to see you. Yeah. We all good. Yeah.
Like that outfit, that hat with like a dollar sign. I'm like, okay, you've got it. You're the reigning king. Relax. I'm convinced. And his thing of like he shows up to the back door and the kid's like, have a seat. And he's like, no.
Come here. Have a seat.
No.
I love that reaction.
It was perfect. He's like, how would I do that? All right, I wrote Shakespeare, and it's like 3 lines. It's just like, I'm sorry.
Sorry
something-
for everything.
Giant
I'm like,
letters, backwards
Shakespeare,
letters,
you're
like
right.
Toys R Us. Like, it's hilarious. Might as well be written.
It does
in
perfectly
crayons.
apply to a suicide note and the situation
Yeah.
though. So like, he couldn't have asked for better. Like things did, as he was planning properly, but it did just all fall exactly into pieces, like the way he would need it to for pretty much everything across the board.
Yeah.
So like a little bit of suspension of disbelief, but it was also really fun. So I'm like, I'm okay with that. That's cool.
When that guy's
Yeah.
drinking the beers in the car and like practicing, hey,
Yeah.
hi, oh yeah, no, it's cool. Like he's doing this all
Yeah.
like, you're like, yeah, he's like the perfect douche. It's great.
So good.
Exactly.
What did you think about his plan? The only thing I thought that could have fallen apart was his understanding of what roofies are and how they work, and they will blank your memory completely. And maybe his whole plan all along was to drop it, and he was always going to murder her.
Yeah.
Or did he make that up on the fly? What do you guys think?
I think he had contingency plans. I think originally, like, his friend was gonna come over, they were gonna scare her, but once he like showed that he's a badass with a gun, maybe she would go out with him, and maybe that's all he was going to do originally. Maybe. But if he knew that is not guaranteed, so he's like, well, you know what? If I can't have her, I have plans to make sure no one else can have her either. And so
One of those like
Yeah.
magazine folds out. If this is yes, then this, and if this is that, then this, and it just
Yeah.
keeps bridging off until eventually he's killed and enslaved the whole planet.
Yeah, I did that.
like a choose your own adventure, but if there's ever a dead end, he knows how to work his way
Yeah.
into it. Like, nope, this will
Always
be the next
planning,
step.
yes. No, I like I did it earlier out loud where I was like, wait, does he even want her anymore? Did he always just want to kill her? Was that always, because I'm not sure some of that stuff. Because like you're saying, he would have had to have had those off ramps of like, oh, I can pull the thing and say, good, we're like, stop the plan, it's fine. Here's your cell phone. No, it's fine. Look, it's fine. We're married now. Like I don't know what his plan and that may be him being 12, is that he has the like genius to physically plan it, but not the like emotional maturity to understand how like human beings will act in those situations.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think was more unbelievable? His as like a nerdy guy ability to throw the cell phone into the fish tank, or that the saran wrap held and was perfectly waterproof on the cell phone?
I was always wondering why. Well, I
I was
mean,
confused by that.
I know why, because he set this all up. But on the first time I watched this, like, because I didn't know that twist yet.
Of
I'm like,
course.
why is there no like lid to the fish tank? Like,
I can answer this. As a man, I've had 6 gigantic fish tanks in my life, and 3 of them have had no tops because
okay.
some
is a thing.
just don't have tops, or if you get them secondhand, they don't have tops that fit, or you got to make custom. Like I've had to build custom top tanks, and I could allow that not having a top. Also, because he's a planner, he would have just removed the top.
Yeah,
Like I
well,
said,
like I
before
said,
the whole
when I
thing
know
went down.
later on that he's, I'm like, okay, that he would make sure there's no top even if there was. So
I
didn't
think
know that
though,
at first.
based on his planning, he should have just had a dummy cell phone. Like, I know her cell phone is a S4, and we're just gonna throw this dummy in there, and then I'll keep hers over here, and I could be texting the boyfriends and stuff, and no one will know.
That's literally
And
what
I bet
that is what I thought happened. I was like so confused by this like part of the movie, because I thought at one point he like takes the cell phone out and there's like 2 of them or something. But I didn't go back and like check it or do anything. So I just took your word for it that it was the saran wrap in the fish tank.
There was some, and like I don't know if it was literally saran wrap, but it was some sort of clear
Yeah.
wrap.
I thought he had her cell phone in a bag somewhere else, and he threw a dummy cell phone into the fish tank. But then later I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. What's going on?
I think it would have been
Bet he
better.
practiced throwing it into the fish tank though, just to make sure that he.
That
was
would have
good
been
at it.
I would have loved if it cut back to like it's like hours of him practicing. He
Practicing
could do it
everything.
blindfolded. Yeah.
Yes.
Even if it was just like in his room with like a waste paper basket, but like at the same distance, throwing a phone into it a couple of times.
Because the whole plan would have fallen apart right there had he missed that shot.
Yeah. So.
Which is the only really linchpin. Like other things could have failed, and I think he could have switched and done things. But if that would have missed, I don't think there was any way of stopping her from like 911. Yeah, I need someone right here, right now. Take out a shotgun. Like, and the whole thing falls apart.
Exactly.
But it's a movie, so if there's only one tiny like moment where I'm like, but that's fine. We're used to hundreds upon hundreds of ones where you're just lost in a blanket sea of horrible crap. This movie was really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it, and I do recommend this
I do too.
for at least one watch.
At least and go into it blind, like if you can.
Indeed, yeah. If you've
But
gotten
if
to
you're
this
listening
point,
to
you're
this
already
point, you probably
fucked.
haven't.
wait 6-7 years, just add it to your watch list, and you'll eventually be like, oh, what is that movie? And hit play, and you'll be fine.
Or if you've seen this, go find someone else that hasn't seen it that you think would like it. Don't tell them anything about it. Have them watch it blind at least.
Yeah,
The
I think
ultimate
it's
sacrifice.
I think it's really cool. I think it's like, I know it's a few years old now, but I think it's very much like very modern or whatever, because it assumes you know all of the things. They don't even say anything about him killing the hamster. It's just assumed that everyone's hip, and we all know that that's a sign that you're like like a young psychopath or whatever, right? Everything's very much. I don't know what like words to use, but it's very like aware. It's very like smart or whatever you want to call it.
Smart,
like,
I think, is an appropriate
Yeah.
way of calling this. Like this is a smart horror.
It like knows what you're gonna assume is gonna happen, and it's either gonna do it or not, but it's going to but it's doing it knowing what you're like looking at. So it goes, okay, how about this? And it goes, oh, okay. Like it was a fun experience for that. But I don't know, again, watching it more than once, if that's gonna make it weird, because those first 20 minutes I'm gonna be like, look at that, look, his foot is in the wrong place, yeah, like all that stuff.
That was what the only like
Yeah.
I'll say like super like enjoyment was,
Yeah.
trying to catch the mistakes, and there really weren't any. So don't go
Yeah.
back looking for that. You'll be fine.
It's-
This is like the
it's-
inverse of the movie The Babysitter.
It's the perfect film. Oh, I never saw The Babysitter, but I was but I was thinking about
recommend.
it. Yeah, I was thinking about it for this, where I was like, this is gonna be like that. Is she the bad one? I really thought Patrick Warburton was gonna come back and be like, we're gonna sacrifice you before you leave town. We're gonna do that.
Like
There's gonna be
Satanic
this-
Panic
yeah,
or
there's gonna
something?
be some crazy thing where like they were the bad people. Because I'm like they can't just be gone for the rest of the movie. Why would you get those people and just have them leave? But yeah, but they did.
I think to have them in the trailer to sell this
yeah,
movie,
it's amazing.
you can only afford them for so long. She's not as big a star as he is now, but still both pretty big names.
She has the cred, right, for the horror movie.
Exactly. You're taking
Yeah,
that
exactly.
with
There was one thing that Luke was not planning for, and that was getting kicked in his dick.
you. Nobody plans for that. And if he did,
didn't have a
how
cup
next
on or
level is
anything,
that? No, he needed the real reaction. He actually did have a cup on, and he faked it perfectly. All that part where him not like unexpectedly getting injured and doing stuff. I love the him in the meathead scene, like him like hitting that guy, and like he's a giant dude. It makes so much sense that he would stand up and be like, "The fuck was that?" And just like throws him into the wall, and like that wasn't sold really well. I don't think his hit into the wall. But he's such a weenie that you're like, yeah, like any hit, this kid would be like, I've never been injured. And like fall to the ground. So I love that. I would have liked a little bit more. I would have liked to like, bloody him up a bit.
Yeah, like a bloody
But
nose.
I understand why you didn't.
A bloody nose at
This
at
is what
some
pain
point.
is.
Yeah. A bloody
What pain is? I've been doing this to everybody. I'm a monster.
He has an epiphany and it changes the whole outcome of the movie. He says, I'm sorry. He
Yeah.
goes to a convent.
he breaks his nose and then like undoes all the traps and says like, never mind. I made a huge mistake.
One time me and Garrett drank a whole bottle. He puked so bad. He can't hold his liquor like me.
Wow, I'm super impressed. Okay, now give it.
All right, guys, I think that's everything there is to talk about in this movie here. Danny, tell them again where they can find you.
You can find me at Horror Addicts TV on YouTube. We have reviews and we cover everything on horror, from Scooby-Doo to Saw. We have unboxings and tons of other things. We love horror. So come find us and get your fix.
Definitely check him out. We're going to put a link to all his information in the description below. Thanks again for joining us, Danny. This was super fun. And guys, we'll see you next week for another video. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
It's pretty nice, huh? How'd that feel?
Like a little boy just felt me up.
Cannibal Video.